All right, guys. So we're getting into section 1.3. We're going to spend several days on this because one of the things about 1.3 is that it deals with fractions. And unfortunately, fractions is not something that is always our favorite. And sometimes it can be semi confusing to some of us. Okay. So we're going to spend a few days on this and we're going to take it a little slowly. But here is the chapter 1, section 3, day 1 notes. Okay. So we're going to talk about converting mixed numbers into improper fractions. We'll explain what that is. We want to be able to simplify fractions. So when it's a fraction that's a little larger, it looks larger, we want to make it into a more simple looking fraction. And then we want you to be able to find the least common denominator. Okay, it's called the LCD. So it's the number, the least number that can go into both fractions. Okay, so we're going to show you a bunch of ways to do that kind of stuff. All right. So the first thing, we have this vocabulary. We have our numerator and our denominator. Basically, the numerator, if someone's talking about the numerator, it just means the top number of the fraction, and the denominator is just the bottom half of the fraction. So in your example right here, 1 is your numerator, it's the top, and 2 is your denominator, it is the bottom. All right. So as you look through these notes, you're going to notice that we have some steps over here. Those steps are things that you can follow along. So when you're doing your homework, you should probably just have this up and you're following along with it, because I think it's the easiest way until you memorize this, right? So we're going to convert these mixed numbers into improper fractions. What makes a fraction improper is when the top number is larger than the bottom number. So for example, if I just wrote the number right here, 9/2, this is an improper fraction because the top number is larger than the bottom. All right, that's not something we usually like, so we like to write it as a mixed number, which these are. Okay, we'll learn to go one way to the other and back forth. Okay, back and forth. So let's try this first one. This first one says convert each number into an improper fraction. All right, the way we do that is just going to be multiplication and addition. We just have to follow certain steps. So step 1 here is multiply the denominator by the whole number. So step 1, I'm going to do that in green so you guys can see that. Step 1 is going to be in green. And what we're going to do is we're going to multiply the 3 and the 5 right here. Okay, so we're going to multiply the 3 and the 5. And that's going to be our new bottom number. Okay, so careful here. So we're going to multiply the denominator by the whole number. Then we're going to add the answer from step 1 to the numerator. Okay, so we're going to multiply. And then we're going to take that and we're going to add. All right. So we're going to take 3 times 5, which is 15. Then we're going to add 2. We're going to add the top number plus 2. Get that red. All right. Got some holiday colors right there. All right, and which gives us the answer of 17. All right. So step 1 and 2 kind of go together. We multiply and then we add. And then we're going to write the answer from step 2 over the denominator, and we're done. So this is now our new numerator. So 17 is going to go on the top. And our denominator in our final answer is always going to be the same. So right there, that is called an improper fraction. Notice just like the example I showed up here, the 9/2, this is 17/5. The top number is larger than the bottom number, so that's good to go. All right, so let's try this next one. I'm going to pause this video right now. Okay, let's see if I can even figure out how to do that. Yeah, so I'm going to pause this. I'm going to give you guys a second to try solving that on your own, and then I'll resume the video. I'm going to just pause it just so there's a pause. Try to do that, and then restart the video here in a second, okay? All right, now that you had a chance to try this problem, let's see how well you did. All right, so first step, oh, I don't know how to get this off, but that's fine. First step is going to be our green step, which is going to be the multiply the 2 and the 4. So 2 times 4 is going to get us 8. And then we're going to add the top number, so 8. Now I'll go into red. You don't have to do separate colors. I'm just trying to help you guys out with that. So plus 1. So that is 9. That is our new top number. Our bottom number stays the same. We put a 4 down there. And if you got 9 fourths, guys, awesome job. All you just did was convert a mixed number into an improper fraction, which is awesome, okay? So nice job. Now we're going to go reverse. So we're going to look at this, okay? So now we have these improper fractions and we want to convert them to mixed numbers. Okay, so notice over here how we used multiplication, right? We used multiplication and addition. All right, so when we're using multiplication and addition, if we want to undo those, the two things we usually use is division and subtraction. So we're going to see how we do these problems. And our final answer is going to look like a whole number in the front with a fraction to the right. So they're now going to look like examples 1 and 2. Okay, so let's try this. So the first thing you want to do is divide the numerator by the denominator. Okay, so basically you're asking, how many times does 5 go into 9? So we want to know how many times it goes into that without going over. Okay. One way you can do that is you can use division and find out how many times it goes into it. If there's a decimal, that's the remainder. We don't want remainders. Okay. So can 5 go into 9? Yeah, for sure. Right. It can go in once. Can 5 go into 9 twice? Well, 5 plus 5 is 10. No, that's too big. Okay. That went over 9. So 5 can only go into 9 one time. Okay, so that can only go in one time. All right, so 5 goes into 9 once. Now, how much is left over if we take 5 out of 9? All right, so we have to think about this. If we take 9 minus 5, right? So 9 minus 5, you can do that in your calculator if you need to. 9 minus 5 should get you 4. And then our denominator stays the same. All right, so notice this. Now, if we went back to the top part and we did the same rule, 1 times 5 is 5 plus 4 is 9. And we started with 9. So we just undid it. Okay, so we undid that problem. So all we need to do is ask ourselves, how many times can the bottom number go into the top number? Okay, evenly. And then we take that number, that becomes our whole number. And then we take the difference, we use subtraction from the numerator and the denominator to find our new numerator or our top number. The denominator always stays the same. So like in number 4, I already know my answer is going to have a 3 on the bottom. Okay, I know that's going to be the way. Our denominator never changes. Okay, so let's try this out. How many times is 3 going to 11? All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, no, it can't go in 4 times because that goes over 11. So it goes in 3 equal times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 3 times. So that is going to be our new front number. It's going to be 3, okay, because it goes in 3 times. And then the leftover, we take 11 minus that number. Well, it went in 3 times, right? 3 went in 3 times, but that was 9 total, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we're going to take 11 minus that 9, which gives us 2. And that is our numerator. Now we can always check, right? You can always check. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 2 is 11. That's what we started with, 11 over 3. Okay, so now that's changing an improper fraction to a mixed number. Okay, so we just practice going back and forth here. back and forth. And all we're doing is simple addition and subtraction and multiplication. All right. So now we're going to simplify the following fraction. So simplify. Now your calculators can do this for you. Basically, all we're trying to do is we're trying to make this look more simple. So we want to find a number that is divisible. Divisible means it can divide, it can go into. We want to find a number that can go into 3, but also can go into 15. All right. So the first thing, you always want to look at like the smaller number, which is usually our numerator. You want to ask yourself, what numbers can go into 3? All right. So if we actually were to make if you guys remember these factor trees, what goes into 3? Well, only 3 and 1 goes into 3, right? So we want to find out, does 3 or 1 go into 15? And if you're not sure, you can always take your calculator. You can take 15 divided by 3, right? So 15 divided by 3. Oh, yeah, it goes in. 3 goes into 15 5 times. All right. So if we were to divide the top by 3 and the bottom by 3, we would simplify this fraction. 3 divided by 3 is 1. And 15 divided by 3 is 5. So 3/15 and 1/5 are the exact same fraction. They equal the same. If you were to take 3 divided by 15 in your calculator, so 3 divided by 15, you get the fraction of 0.2, right? 0.2. And then if you take the fraction 1 divided by 5, even though it looks smaller, it also is 0.2. All right. So it is a simplified version. It just looks more simplified, and that's what we like in math. We like that. Okay. So even though these next one, number 6, they're bigger numbers, but ultimately we still want to find a number that can go into both. Now you have different ways to do this. One way you can do it is you can make your factorization tree just like over here. Another thing is you can find a number that goes into it and then simplify the fraction. But sometimes if you just find a random number, sometimes the fraction can be simplified even more. Okay, so it depends on how you want to do that. I'm going to end up showing you the best way to do it. It takes a little bit more math, but it is a great way. Okay, so we're going to take the number 42. And let's find some numbers that go into 42. Okay, so if you need to check your calculator, you can. And if you're not sure where to start, always just do 42 divided by 2. Okay, and then right away you see, oh, 2 and 21. Okay, and then 2 is as small as it can get, right? 2 times 21 is 42, so let's break this down. And we get 7 and 3. 7 and 3 are called prime numbers, so they can't get any smaller. So 2, 7, and 3 go into 42. Now we need to go to 49. Now, if you're good with your math tables, you should know right away that 49, you can always double check. I would always check the biggest ones. So we have 7, 3, and 2. If you go to 49 divided by 7, oh, look at that. 7 times 7 is 49. And those are both prime. They can't get any smaller. So what number do both of these have in common? Well, it's 7. That's a bad 7, but 7. So we're going to go ahead and divide the top by 7. And we're going to divide the bottom by 7. Okay. And then you're going to do 42 divided by 7. And it's going to get you your 6. And you're going to do 49 divided by 7. And you're going to get your 7. And now we have our simplified fraction. Simplified fraction. All right, there we go. All right. The last one is finding the least common denominator. We're going to take a pause on this one. We're going to add this into day 2. If you want to read the steps right here, press the math button, select the numerator. This is something that's really nice, but you need the $80 calculator. Okay, so those calculators are going to have a ton of shortcuts for you that help you with a lot of your math. Unfortunately, not all of these calculators have it, so we have to understand some of the math behind it. So I will get into this, and I'm going to help you guys kind of individually, depending on what calculator you have. I'm going to show you the best way to find what we call the least common denominator, okay? But we'll come back to this. So go ahead, open up Kami, open up this video, and get these notes filled out. After this, you guys will start this homework 1.3 worksheet A. That's going to be online for you guys as well. All right, guys, have a good one.